The value of human life comes from our consciousness. Okay, I've said a couple times that there are some decent pro-choice arguments, and I think this is one of them. This is a personhood argument. The personhood arguments are arguments about whether all human organisms are morally valuable people, and if they aren't all morally valuable people, which ones are and why. Sometimes you'll see personhood arguments that say we aren't valuable people until we have a heartbeat, or until viability is a popular one, or until we're born. But I think increasingly the most popular personhood argument is some form of having to do with our consciousness, our rationality, our cognitive function. And usually these cognition-based personhood arguments take a form very much like this, where the idea is that embryos and early fetuses don't have whatever the quality is that you need to be a person, and later fetuses and newborns and everyone after that do. I think this personhood argument has a lot of intuitive appeal. I agree that cognitive function is important. Still, there are several issues with this personhood argument. So first of all, there's the issue of how you define consciousness. There's not one unifying definition, and usually when I ask people how they're defining it, they don't have a very clear idea. If you mean consciousness to mean something like a kind of self-awareness, a higher order thinking that lets you realize that you are processing information around you and making it into coherent ideas, then it's true that embryos and early fetuses don't have consciousness, and neither do late-stage fetuses, and neither do newborns. If you mean consciousness to mean something more like reactions to your environment, then that can mean a lot of different things, but it's a lot harder to say that you can draw the line at late-stage fetuses, because early-stage fetuses and embryos also react to their environment. Sometimes people making these consciousness-based arguments will claim that the fetus has consciousness at a specific time point, like 24 weeks or 28 weeks. But nobody is able to explain what neuroanatomically is happening that you think suddenly, right then, now they have consciousness. And in any case, if the idea is that consciousness and human cognition are so important that they are the core of what gives us value and worth and makes it unjust to kill us, then I think it's important that you have a human organism who is in the process of attaining that very valuable quality. So I've used the analogy before that if you have a coma patient and you have good reason to believe that in the next 5 to 9 months, that person is going to reattain the cognitive abilities that we recognize as so important, you would consider that attainment process important, and you wouldn't pull the plug on that coma patient. Similarly, even if you're defining consciousness in a way that embryos and early stage fetuses don't have it, they are going to get it if you leave them alone. And so I think it still makes it very ethically questionable to say it's okay to destroy them for any reason because their process of attainment isn't done yet. And finally, even if you have a definition that precludes embryos and early stage fetuses but includes late stage ones, then you need to grapple with the reality of late term abortion in America. So it's a decent pro-choice argument, but it doesn't justify elective abortion.